I'm Will Cribb. I work here at Northwest Access TV, as does this person who would like to introduce themselves.
When you're done.
Oh, well, I thought we was going to do it at the same time.
Sure. Oh, sure. My name is Hillary. Everyone calls me Hunter. And there was a brief period at the start of college when it was like, oh, I can actually go by my name because it's not like, it was honestly more about convenience than anything that I went by my middle name because my dad had the exact same name as I did, so everyone they'd been calling him that for years. And then I went to college and I was like, oh, I can't wait to actually be called my name because I like it. And then second class I ever had, someone was like, oh, Hunter, it's nice to see you. And that was the end of it.
Yep. So you're never going to be Hillary again.
Nope.
You're just Hunter now.
Yep. That's how it works. But that said, the way I introduce myself everywhere forever will remain. I'm Hillary, but everyone calls me Hunter.
And there you have it.
Yeah.
So
I also work here at Northwest Access. Why are we talking to each other? Will, tell me about yourself. What do you do? What do you like? What are you passionate about?
Well, we're here because we're both very passionate about movies. And I am here because I was a film major and came back to Vermont, which left me fairly unemployed. And Northwest Access is convenient because it's something camera related, and I can kind of do what I'm passionate about. I'm very passionate about movies and filmmaking and that general thing. And it so happens that we're both like that, so we wind up talking about that.
Actually, we're not. This is the really funny thing. I come at this from such a wildly different angle than you do. I truly, fully do.
Actually, you're totally wrong about me.
No, in fact, you don't know a damn thing about me. No, you're great. I got into this at all because my mom went back for her master's. She was an LNA. She was worked with the visiting nurses in hospice for a very long time. Then she decided she wanted to go into social work. Turns out a master's helps with that. And she decided she didn't want to write her thesis. She wanted to film it. She wanted to do it as a series of interviews. And a little bit of Googling brought her here. And she basically, the response was the same response we give to everyone, which is, sure, you can do that, but you're going to have to do the work. And so she, all of this equipment is available to you, but you need to, we'll show you how to use it. You need to get someone to do that.
Yeah.
And so she said, they told me I need someone to run the booth, and that's you. So I did that, and I utterly loved it. It was just really cool. At the time Roger was here.
Yeah.
And
Roger.
Yeah. And so I talked with them, and I just really, really liked what I was doing, and it immediately became, within seconds, I figured out, oh, there's a lot to this.
Yeah.
There's framing, lighting, it all matters, and I'm the one who has to be good at it right now.
Yeah.
So I ended up asking a lot of questions. They said, well, we teach a class about that. Come take that. I did. At which point it occurred to me that this was a job you could do. And so I started doing that. And
so you got here by accident.
Yeah.
Pure chance.
Pure accident. I fully have been just playing catch up. I constantly am asking Alan and Katie just hey, what books did you read that mattered and sculpted how you do this? And then I look those up and read them.
Well, you talk like someone who's been doing this for a long time, so.
Well, I like art a lot. Games in particular are something I really have always cared about game design. And that is such a deliberate and intentional process. Game design is all about your sculpting an experience. You're trying to you're just trying to guide the psychology of a person, not in the way that you're trying to guide their eye, but in the way that you want them to make this decision and feel like they own it. You want them to own the choices they're making, and you want that feeling to matter. There is a certain amount of artistry. I will fight anyone that tells me that making a game isn't art. But it is
Well, it's not.
Okay, all right.
I'm kidding.
There will be no episode 2 because one of us will be dead. No, but it's not similar, but
There are overlapping attributes, right? There's like or aspects to it.
the sort of like methodology
Yeah.
is the what is the thing that they overlap, not at all in the ways that you think they do, but they do.
Yeah.
There is so much every single part of it, the kind of, I'll say it like this, the kind of brain you have to be any good at making a movie, you also have to have to be good at making a video game experience. You just have to. It is the same exact, like, what is the camera doing? What is the light doing? What happened just before this? What happened just after? How do you build a narrative? Like, every single thing has to be intentional.
And it's the same thing with film, because, like, especially, like, at least the way I view film, I know there's, like, a couple different ways that people think about it, but, like, I think of it purely through how the audience reacts. And, like,
Right.
Like, that to me, that fuels every decision you are making. How is someone going to interpret this or react to this or feel about this? And the biggest difference with games is that you have it's more than just reacting; it's actually interacting.
Yeah. I have a fun question for you because just talking about the way we always like to phrase making a game is that it is just smoke and mirrors. Everything you do is a lie, but a lie that the people you're doing it want to believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's how you make it work. If you had to have one thesis for how you think you have to work, if you had to have one thesis or idea about this is how you make, videography, editing, filmmaking work, what would it be?
Like one defining rule that
What is like the thing that is at the forefront of your mind whenever you walk onto a project?
I would say it's either the thing I mentioned, like how are people going to react to this, and how can I change what I'm doing to make people react in a way that's more preferable to me, or it's just a general like, and tying into that, it's like, oh, why am I doing this? Like why am I using this angle? Why am I lighting it this way? Like it could be like a practical sense, like, oh, you want to see these people clearly and not a wall in the background. Or it can be like, I want to make this more shadowy to like make people feel uneasy or a little more confused and unclear what's going on and who this person is. And that's a very vague example, but I'm doing my best here.
That's fine. I put you on the spot.
Yeah, it's to me, it's all about intention and reaction. Like what sort of feelings you're trying to evoke from whoever is looking at what you're doing. And that's what I've thought about really everything. This is another thing I should mention in the intro. I have been working on films, like even outside of Northwest Access. Last summer I was in Maine being a director of photography, and I've been editing a film project that I'm wearing a hoodie for, actually.
I was looking at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I don't know if it's cringy to plug the film I've been working on that we're still making and we'll be releasing this summer. But
I don't care. They can't stop you.
That's fair. If you want to find a film called River's Edge, we're somewhere on Instagram. I don't know, 'cause I don't have Instagram, but we're somewhere over there.
I also don't. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you.
Oh, good. We're on the same boat. You can also go to room310media.com to learn more.
It says that on the sleeve
Oh,
right there. Look at
it
that.
says right there. The production company is Room 310, and it's right there.
So yeah, fine. What was I'm stuck between trying to just want to ask you more about that because it's fun.
Oh yeah, I was totally going to say more, and then I got sidetracked by plugging us a bit. But
yeah,
but essentially there, like, and that was sort of my first big project, like outside of college and kind of in a somewhat professional setting.
Do you think you did a good job?
I really hope so.
Well,
I do think I've gotten some of the best shots of my career, and I consider myself primarily an editor. And there are like some scenes I'm very proud of. I'm
Good.
looking forward to that coming out. But
that's something I remember having a version of this conversation before when you were talking about it. And I asked like, "Is it good?" And you stopped and you were like, "Yeah, I think it's good." And the point at the end of it was like, "Good." It's your job to think that. If you're responsible for making it, you have to believe it's good. You have to work like it's worth working on.
I guess that's the flaw of basing everything on like how the audience will react, because I think it's good because I can only go so far in forcing people to think my shots are good and you will love them. But so I am happy with what I did. I think I've done some of the best work I have in my extremely short life so far, but I can I guess that's we'll have to see how people react.
Yeah,
And
I'll
I feel
watch
good.
it. Yeah,
Thank
I'll
you.
watch it for sure.
We're trying for I brought up the idea of a maybe Montpelier or Burlington screening. We're still working on screenings and premiere dates, and that's not my department because I'm editing and I hate producing. But so
Yeah.
I'm great at producing. I just hate it with a burning passion.
Well, there you go. Yeah, no, I don't know that I hate anything. So again, because of the way I came at this back asswards, I don't think I swerved so much as I or stumbled so much as I careened into
Yeah.
where I am right now.
You kind of just walked into a room and realized, I guess this is what I'm doing now.
Well, because the problem is the room I walked into was pretty cool, and I wanted to do that. So, I like my process has always, and this is kind of just how I approach life, and I don't recommend it at all. But I never believe anything that's happening to me.
Okay.
It's an insane amount of work and stress to do, but I go on a trip every year, and I'm going on a trip to Greece next month that I still don't believe is going to happen. Like, emotionally, I'm not prepared in the way I need to be like, okay, I need to have this, like, it's just like, I'm gonna make sure my passport is renewed, and then I'm gonna like send it out, and the second it left my mailbox, I didn't believe I was ever gonna see it again. I believed everything wrong was gonna happen, and I was just like,
gotcha.
Not in the like okay, it is definitionally pessimistic.
I call it fairly pessimistic.
But in a wildly apathetic way, I just sort of assume that like in a dull, I couldn't care less. Like I am not surprised when things happen, but I just like, it's not until I've finished the thing that I realize how I should feel about it. And that has been like, I was one of the 5 crew members on the 8084 concert that got us overall excellence.
Right, that's right.
That was a project I worked on, and it was a really cool project, and I loved doing it. That was so much fun, and I didn't believe what I was doing until, because in the moment it's just like, I have to, there's this one story I hear from Bob Iger, I think, maybe some other astronaut, but it's hearsay, so the story might not be real, but the described sensation is incredibly relatable. Of someone asked this astronaut, like, what was it like to go to the moon? And he said, I don't know, because NASA broke going to the moon up into 15-minute segments. And every 15 minutes, he had a new job. It was like, okay, while you're going up, your job is to hold on to this and watch this dial. And then your job is to wait until this light turns on and flip this switch. And then your light is to check, and then your job is to check this.
So what you're saying, you're totally focused on a task at hand and not thinking about the experiences going on around you.
No, the way he tells, the way the story gets told, I haven't heard him tell it, but the way the story gets told is that when he got back to Earth, he said, I don't know what it's like to go to the moon. I did it 15 minutes at a time. Looks pretty fun. And that's kind of exactly how I feel about some of the cooler things that happen to me. Lately, a lot of those happen to be around this, but like the idea of like working on a film, I do that. I don't know. I am not happy enough with my abilities to like put myself forward to do something like that unless I really trusted everyone else in the project. I tend to think that that kind of arrogance is necessary for everyone who isn't me. Otherwise, the project won't end up well. But if I'm arrogant about my own abilities, then I'm going to make some mistake I'm never going to forgive myself
I mean,
for.
that's just true of all film. Like, you need to have
Yeah.
like confidence in yourself, also willingness to be told, "Hey, this is kind of dumb."
Good films don't get made without big personalities.
Yeah.
Like not like you have to believe you can do it to do it. And yeah, no. So I frankly don't know what my trajectory is. I have a lot of things I'm working on that I'm just working on everything I'm working on so incredibly hard. And then once it's up, I'll be able to sit back and go, "Oh yeah." And that's how I.
Well, it's
that's
actually
how I-
kind of insane I did this.
yeah, I was just like, wow, that looks pretty cool. Like, again, that exact feeling of, that looks pretty fun. Like,
So what have you done essentially in this field? Like, obviously you've worked cameras, you have put
Yeah.
together a podcast, and
I've started a subpar YouTube channel. I actually
we
just
all start.
recently, well, I just recently made, I think, what is my best video I've ever made. And it's framed awfully. It was recorded on my phone, sitting up against like a bunch of like laundry I had to pile up to get the camera at the height I wanted it to be, next to my piano at home. But all the video is me yelling for an hour and 30 minutes about what I think the strengths of every single storytelling form are. So like comic books and like drawn stories, like graphic novels, comic books,
Yeah,
manga,
yeah, yeah.
whatever, to like plays, to like oral tradition, to long form poetry, books on tape, and just like breaking down like what is the thing this vehicle, this medium of storytelling can do, no other can. I have this belief that every single story has a best medium for it to be in. I legitimately believe that you will get a better version. I think Cats will never be a good movie. I think Cats works because it's a musical, and
Right,
if
yeah.
it tried to be anything else, it would fail because it needs the strengths of a musical to work. That story just can't exist any other way. Or
Right.
it can, but it won't be as fulfilling.
yeah, like
yeah.
you could make an okay Cats movie, possibly
Yeah.
theoretically, but it wouldn't be the best version of Cats.
You also just, I think you wouldn't be able to get to the catharsis, the exact kind of catharsis the audience gets to watching the play. I don't.
But do you think that's subjective at all? Like, do you think like other people maybe wouldn't get that catharsis?
I
and-
do think, I absolutely do think that not every audience is available to certain mediums the way that they are for others. I think that there is an audience that will put, plays on a higher pedestal than they will movies, therefore taking them more seriously. I do not think that the story in question will ever be better in the other medium. I think if you watch Cats, okay, Cats the movie is the worst example because it's a universally hated movie for such good reasons. I don't know. I have never met a living soul who has cared about that movie in a positive way, and I include the interviews I have seen with the actors and crew that made it. I just don't believe. I don't believe. So that's not a good example. But I legitimately think. I think that there are certain stories that you cannot make the same way in another medium. I think that there are people who will like that story in the other medium better, but only because they like the medium better, not the story.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you? Are there any other examples, or other than Cats, maybe that could never work in a different medium?
I can think of two that I don't think you or anyone who probably watches this will ever know. Going to games, there are two video games in particular. There are two that I can imagine. There are two that I think about often. One of them is, depending on the day, my favorite video game story ever made or told, and the other is just what is the thing I point to when people are like, oh, games aren't art. One is the Stanley Parable, which is a story about the idea is that you are Stanley and you work a job in a cubicle. You are the most boring person alive with the most boring name alive. And there is a narrator who describes your droll life and day in the way that they could. They say, like, and Stanley then, copied a fax, and then Stanley sent an email. He got up from his cubicle and walked to the water fountain to get some water, and then he went home. And if you just follow what the voiceover is saying, you will just go step by step. You are hearing it's just like a narrator in any show. It's just like, and then this, like a bedtime story being read to you.
Right.
You just go through the most boring day at work you've ever done, and then you go home and the game ends. But you also have the opportunity to, on the way to the water cooler, turn around and open the broom closet, and the narrator will go, no, Stanley, don't go in there. You're going to the water cooler.
So it's a game about free will, essentially?
Yes, but the way it gets there is utterly fascinating. You can, depending on what you do, you can outrun the narrator. You can escape them. You can be trapped. You can go. Depending if you go a certain way, you will figure out that you're living on a set, and everything you've ever done is a lie. And you can go rogue and try and dig to the center of the earth and figure out what's under the rendered. You're in a video game. This space only goes so deep. What's under there? And everything you can do, this game is airtight in that every possible action you, the player, can take there is something for that. You will open, you can crawl under a texture, clip through the world, end up in an out of bounds area, and there will be a sign on the wall saying, you turn around. You shouldn't be here. There is an achievement in that game for not playing it for 20 years or something. Just legitimately not touching it and not engaging with it.
How close are you to that achievement?
Oh, no, not at all. But it is as a case study of tell me any other medium, make me a movie that does that.
Yeah, no, that...
Yeah.
You know... That's actually insane. Yeah, that would not work as a movie in the slightest.
Exactly.
Because that inherently requires
it requires the kind of
interaction.
You can't make a play. You can't write a book. You can't make a movie that does that.
Yeah.
You could.
I mean, you could make a movie about a guy who's like, I'm not going to listen to the narrator. I'm going to do my own thing. Free Guy. You can make
that
Free Guy.
Movie exists. It is not as good as Stanley Parable, and it never will be.
It's Free Guy. It's stupid.
Yeah, but you can make that movie, but the fact that you're not doing it with your own hands, that the feeling of doing something and being
away from
scolded,
the
being scolded for something you didn't believe the game would see you do is wild and can't be replicated. And when you do, it ends up being a little bit hollow or a little bit different. You do not get the same thing out of it. Yeah. Just fundamentally. Yeah.
I was thinking about maybe movies that kind of do the same thing. You know what movie I don't think you can create in any other medium?
What movie?
The John Wick movies. Sounds like a random example.
No.
But because you can't really do a long form TV show because it's not that complex of a story. You're going to be dragging your feet or maybe adding way too much lore. It's not going to be the same thing. The movie's inherently action based and visual action, so you can't really write a book.
Yeah, no.
And, of course, camera work and lighting and how everything's moving around, the choreography kind of rules out a video game. First person shooter isn't going to be as
I mean,
And it's
you
gonna
can
be
do
fun,
some
probably.
you can do some wild things. You can't do them in that way.
Yeah.
The John Wick's movies, I utterly love them because I think they are the single greatest. I think they turn your brain off action movie and turn it into an art.
Yeah.
Where like it literally is like the sickest, coolest. Like it is paced exactly like. Every single fight scene is exactly how long you want it to be. Like every set piece is like imaginative and new. And if you were thinking about it, you would be less interested in it. Like the movie invites you to not take it seriously. The world building is so stupid, but it's the coolest thing ever. If you're not, it's like you're just like, yeah, there's a hotel where no assassins kill each other, except we're gonna spend the next 3 movies killing each other in the hotels, and you're like, yeah, yeah, you will. It's that like that wild, like it is. Like every single decision made in that movie, every performance you get, the way the villains act, it draws from like the horror movie genre in the way it portrays John Wick, which is interesting when you like think about like the functionality of watching a horror movie requires the audience to be like patient and tense. Like they have to hold themselves a certain way to respond correctly to what's coming next. And like using that as a vehicle to like, don't think about it. We got you covered. Like lean back, melt into your couch and let us take care of you. Everything's covered. You'll walk out of that movie having the greatest experience you've ever had. Like each intermission is exactly as long as it needs to be. The pacing is perfect. The framing is perfect. I remember the last John Wick movie, I don't know if it's 3 or 4 or whatever, I remember my uncle's like, I didn't think it was as good. And then I watched the fight scene with the camera, just a long oneer, like weaving under doorways and pulling out. And I was watching it going like, oh my God, what are you doing? This is crazy. I need to see how that got made. Like, yeah.
I will say, I think there's parts of it, mainly in the second one, where it does try to have like kind of think about stuff. Like, I mean, the whole second movie is about, can this guy who's killed hundreds of people, you just watched him and spent a movie killing people, can he go back to a normal life? And they do a lot of that. And I like that, and I think it does it well, but at the same time, no one's there for that. People are there to see the one-take action movie scenes, like weaving between cars and stuff, and watching Keanu Reeves slam a gun together and say, yeah, really confused.
Yeah. I
love Keanu, but he sounds really confused with every line reading.
Keanu Reeves is like my favorite person in Hollywood. Just
absolutely.
Full stop. Keanu Reeves and honestly, John Cena is just, I think, a national treasure. Like he's just like he's just such a sweetheart. He's just the like sweetest, cutest human being alive, and I love him, and I love the way he approaches at like.
Are we talking about John Cena or Keanu Reeves?
John Cena. I think John Cena acts in movies like he wants to make children happy. Like the way his characters portray themselves, the way John Cena is in the WWE, like he builds his performance to make kids happy and have a good time.
Yeah.
Like John Cena is just working in service of the people he wants to make happy, and that's beautiful. Keanu Reeves is just the most genuine human.
Yeah,
I mean, like he's good people.
I know he like bought all the stuntmen in John Wick 4 Rolex watches.
Yeah, or like he overheard one of the one of the crew like on a call like with dealing with their mother's medical debt, and he like wrote a check and handed it over. He never said a word. He never asked for anything. It wasn't. Keanu Reeves. He's a guy that just like, I know people who have seen John Wick on their plane, flying coach. Like he takes the subway. Like you can meet him. He's just a good person.
Yeah.
He is just so like down to earth, not in the way that, not in the like I could get a beer with this guy, or the, because like down to earth, especially like we work in
Yeah.
films, we can be honest.
Yeah,
Down
yeah.
to earth is a lie you told really well.
Yeah.
It is like we're trying to make this like we are doing all the right things to make you feel like these people have normal lives when they don't.
Yeah.
If they did, we wouldn't be making a movie about it.
Yeah.
But Keanu Reeves is genuine in a way that I feel like he just has nothing. His career has not changed who he is.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
if it has by luck, intention, or miracle. He is just simply a person who happens to be talented and successful, but is still just a human being.
Yeah,
There's not a speck of diva in him, and that's beautiful.
And that's what you want in celebrities.
Yeah.
You don't want
The idea, like, he is such a famous person for whom the word celebrity just doesn't stick the same way.
Exactly, yeah.
No, just a wild thing.
Because that's something I've always thought about. Like on the very slim chance that this movie, River's Edge from Room 310 Media, go check it out online. On the off chance that blows up,
man.
and yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, I just realized that I forgot. So I walk here, and I don't know if you saw the weather.
Oh, I saw the weather.
Yeah, I like to walk the rail trail, and it's covered in ice, and I look like I washed up because I kind of did.
I see you're okay now.
Yeah, I dressed warmly, and I look like I utterly I look like an utter mess because I fell 3 times. Someone's dog ran at me, and I'm terrified of those, so I locked up and fell over. Ice is slippery, man. Like, what do you want to do? But
I don't know, drive maybe? It was raining. Why did you?
Because I have a coat, and walking's good for you. It is.
Yeah, it is.
It's good for you. I don't so you need what? The average person has to walk 10 miles a day to just our bodies are built for that kind of locomotion. That is a amount of maintenance we're supposed to have that I do not get being a videographer and esports coach.
It's not the most physical job, is it?
No.
But
I have fully taken and I know that Northwest Texas is gonna watch this, but there are some town meetings I have filmed sitting down because they're that's everything I need to do. Sometimes I'll stand up to make sure the
Are we
settings
supposed to be standing when we film them?
I don't know.
I've been sitting for literally every meeting I've ever filmed, except for maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And I still feel like I do a pretty good job.
Yeah, that's always the thing, right? It's if I'm doing a good job.
Should we not be admitting this? Is Alan going to appear in the window over there and just be glaring at us?
I don't know. Okay. I heard Alan's voice and panicked is what just happened. we both I don't know if he left the intercom on or something, but that was frightening.
Okay, as long as we're still employed, we're good.
Yep.
Please, I went to college. I have so many loans I need to pay.
Yeah.
But I was saying something. Oh, yeah, on the off chance I somehow get famous off the film work I'm doing, I always said if that happens, I don't want to live in a big fancy house and cut myself off from reality. And that seems very inachievable based on the corrupting power of money, which is why I feel like I don't want a lot of money.
That's exactly the thing is that I utterly agree with you. Yeah. I don't want to. That's not entirely okay. For our purposes, I like who I am.
Yeah.
There are always things about, there are things about, you should want to be a better person.
Yeah.
You should be cognizant and monitoring, I can improve this skill. Man, I said a mean thing, I can be more, aware of my temperament. You can always do that, but, I'll put it like this, I don't want to be anybody I know that has money. I don't want to be a single one of them. And that is so easy to say when you don't have money.
And
it's
because
Yeah, I would I'm legitimately afraid enough of it that if I won the Powerball tomorrow, I would like pay everyone's loans. I would find
Yeah.
ways to spend that money rapidly enough that I like there's only so much money a person will ever need before your like grandkids are taken care of. Like I would like I would like just make sure that the pressures of money are alleviated from the people around me, and then I would find a way to make it so that that money exists in a way I can't interact with it
Yeah, I
too
think
much because I am scared of that thought.
because you see so many like nightmare stories like
Yeah.
in media, like in like film and celebrity alone of like money completely changing people. Like Keanu's great because he's like the one very distinct exception.
Yeah, but he's also the one distinct exception.
But he's,
That's telling.
yeah, and it's like it is
Yeah.
kind of terrifying. Like I've spent so much of my life like I've been like obsessed with movies. I think since it started, I'd say 2008 or something. So
I
that's,
thought you were
like,
going to say since movies started, and I was going to say I clearly don't know how old you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you've got at least a century on me.
Yeah, you see, when I was born in the year 1856 and my father died in the Civil War, I like,
Was 1856 movies?
no, I just need to be old enough to like
Yeah.
be aware of movies when they actually do happen. So
Yeah.
I think it
Alright.
had to be a little early, you know. It's world building.
There you go.
But no, like I've spent such a long time like witnessing like people get famous, and then just you slowly find out that they're like, oh, they're actually terrible. Especially like when you're a kid who loves movies and you idolize people, and then you learn more and more bad stuff about
Yeah,
them, and then the whole Me Too era happens, and then like
It's rough.
you get disappointed in more and more people, and
Yeah, the like just
you,
like power just isn't good for people. Like
Yeah.
this idea of like, oh, the like I don't remember the year or anything. I just remember the conversation of my sister looking at something and saying like, yeah, some like billionaire's kid ran someone over in a car, and in court their defense was, oh, well, we have affluenza. And like that idea is so utterly infuriating. And
I could get so topical right now.
yeah,
not
we
even.
probably don't want to do like I
Yeah.
definitely like before this started I was like, yeah, we can let this evolve into whatever we want it to be. We should
We probably should.
we should talk
some
about like
borders.
yeah, we like movies.
Yeah.
Movies are cool.
Movies are cool.
Yeah. So the thing so you brought up two topics. Least favorite movies.
Oh, that's
and,
right.
Yeah. Least favorite movies, and I mentioned forever ago, what is your single least favorite aspect of movie making and why? Which of those do you want to talk about? I'll follow your lead.
I was gonna ask you the same thing.
If you tell me, I will make a snap decision, but I'm happy to follow you if
See,
you feel
I won't
strongly.
make a snap decision. So you make a snap decision.
Okay, cool. I actually am curious about what your least favorite movie is because this is something I haven't thought about. And
I have thought of three.
experiences like this.
I've been thinking
Oh!
about this because I could have sworn we talked about discussing this on podcast. So I thought about this in advance, and the
Honestly, we could have, and then I just didn't do my due diligence.
and then
That's possible.
the defining like central theme between the three of them is they all make me just angry. Like I genuinely don't watch. I go to the movie theater a ton, but I don't watch a lot of movies that I think I'm going to dislike. And when I think they're bad movies, it's probably because I'm probably watching because I think they're going to be really funny, like Madam Web. And I was right about
yeah,
that
no,
one.
there is so bad it's good. Like there's so bad it's good, and then there's just like there are like a train crash can be funny.
And and then there's movies that like they're not even necessarily train crashes. They just infuriate me. There are worse made movies out there. They're like I'd say these three are like competently made, but I despise them. And one of them for petty reasons, and there's the one that's probably
Don't leave this in suspense. What are we talking about?
the one that's historically gotten the most people angry with me is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, are you familiar with that one? Or
Yes.
So it's like yeah, it's. I watched it in college once, and it was just Johnny Depp and Benicio del Toro driving around, getting high, and occasionally talking about the American dream, and it bored the hell out of me. I was like, this isn't my thing.
I can see that.
And then I had a bunch of people be like, oh no, it's this commentary on the American dream and how it died, and they're doing adrenochrome because it's meaningful, and you're wrong for not liking it, and that got shoved so far down my throat that I despise the movie now.
Yeah,
it made me unhappy to watch it, and now I'm being so forced to think it's good that I hate it. That's the one of the three that I have just really petty reasons for disliking.
I will say, up until the last sentence, I want to be really clear about that. Right up until the point about like it being shoved down your throat, that is my exact feelings on Joker 2. Like that, I watched it and it was utterly boring, and people were like, people.
The genesis of this podcast
like,
is us having a whole debate on Joker 2.
Yeah, no, but like people being like, no, you don't understand it. And I'm gonna be so real with you. Well, I've watched it a second time. I do understand it. It's just still not good.
Fair enough.
Like, I'm sorry.
Maybe at some point I'll bother to watch it a second time and I'll think the same way. But.
I don't think I could watch it a third time. Okay. if we're talking about like my least favorite movies, that might be on the list.
I don't know if we want to go down this road again.
Listen.
Last time we talked about Joker 2, we talked for like a full hour.
I feel more educated on my own opinion. Like last time it was just like, I feel like this happened and I have questions and I'm curious. I want to like hear this from the perspective of somebody who does like it. Yeah. Like that's where that conversation came from. And I have since like done the work. Mm-hmm. I have like sat down with myself and really gotten to the bottom of my feelings on this.
Chance.
Yeah. And I hate it. I hate everything about it. I legitimately even hate that the performances are good and that Lady Gaga can sing well, because I think that they did a good job. Mm-hmm. I think every person on the crew was good at their job. I legitimately think that like the actors took it seriously, the camera people took it seriously. I think the people writing the script took it seriously. I think everything, that the uses of frame and color and like lighting, I think all of that was intentional and good.
So where do you think it went wrong then?
I feel like every single one of those is wasted effort. I legitimately feel like it is time that good people who are clearly like have something to say, and so like they have valuable skills to use in this industry, wasted them in a way that we are never going to get back. Like they could have been working on any of the other projects that were like happening at that time and done something that maybe people like maybe I could have enjoyed, but instead they had to work so hard to like. Everything about that movie being good is trying to convince me that I should be caring. And the fact that I can't is such a problem. I feel like I legitimately there's like I hate this term, but wasted effort. Where I legitimately don't even know if there was a lesson for them to learn. Like when you do something wrong, you can learn from it. When you do something right, you're a little bit better at it. So they're just a little bit better. Yeah. And there's nothing for them to learn because it wasn't their fault that it ended up that way. If you want to know what was wrong? I feel like there was no payoff. I feel like nothing.
It was all for nothing.
I feel like that's the one sentence review, is that it was all for nothing. I feel like that they introduced ideas that were really, really good ideas, and they were like, set that aside, we'll get to it later. And then they introduced really, really good shots, and they were like clearly trying to communicate something in such a way that was like, we'll tell you what we're communicating later. When then it's, this relationship between Harley Quinn and Flick, that'll get paid off later. And then you get to, and then there just is no later. There's just no point where we actually get the payoff or catharsis that all of that work was clearly pointing to, and you get the sense that they're like all gonna kind of converge at one point, and then they just don't, and you're confused, and it's like, okay, well, I'll hear you out, like, where's this going? And then it ends so completely.
The only point was in Joaquin Phoenix's side.
Yeah, it's that's excellent.
Thank you.
That's really good. Yeah. No, but it's just, it could not be more over. And that, like, there is a beauty in that when it's done right. I have seen that done right often and a lot. There is such an incredible way to handle the negative space that loss makes. There are I'm gonna lose so many people here, but that is basically the thesis of the original 1997 like game that people still say is one of the best ever made, Final Fantasy VII. The whole point of that game is that you're a band of friends, and one of those friends dies and nothing replaces them. That's the full thesis of the game, is that you've lost something, and that thing you've lost happened suddenly. There wasn't any buildup, there wasn't any catharsis. There's all of these things that could have gone somewhere. There was a tomorrow that was tenuous and beautiful and worth being happy about, and it's never gonna happen. And experiencing the kind of pain that inflicts on somebody and making you, the audience, feel that and handle that emotion, handle that volatile thing is so cool. Joker doesn't do that.
Yeah, Joker just ends.
Joker is just over. And that, like, it failed to get me. It failed to get me to care about anything in that movie the second the credits rolled. And that is, I don't know that I've seen any other movie do that, if I'm honest.
And you know, the funny thing is about all that is, like, you say all that is, I do think you're right, but I still like
you think
love
that
the
was
movie.
the point. Yeah, no, like we had that conversation before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe that's something interesting about Joker 2, which we could spend hours going into.
I am so happy you got something from it, because I can't. Like, and the fact that it was useful to somebody, because people clearly worked so hard. Joaquin Phoenix worked so hard.
Yeah, like
Lady Gaga did a great job.
She did.
She
It kind of sucks that they won Razzies for that the other day for the uninformed, the anti-Oscars, the worst picture and stuff. But I feel like there's a better person they could have gone to, but also I didn't look too closely at it. So
yeah, I don't know. I think that was fine. But that's, anyone got anything out of the kind of effort they put into it matters a lot. Honestly, I hate the idea of pointless art. I think art is a beautiful thing that is already working so uphill. Just no one likes it. No one takes it seriously. It's the first thing to get cut. Like, it's so rare that, like, anyone in, like, you know, politics or power in just about every government everywhere, like, even just people, your dad, like, your mom and dad are just like, oh, stop, it's just silly movies. Like, the idea that, like, there is such a stigma around all of art already that I hate to see hard work go to waste. Yeah.
But you have also given me so many segues to numbers one and 2 on my list.
Take any of them. Go for it.
Do you want? How do I? You know what? Screw it. I'll go with the original plan.
Sure.
You mentioned wasted effort. You know what's even worse than wasted effort?
What's worse than wasted effort?
Absolutely no effort. Coincidentally, also in a DC movie, Black Adam. I hate Black Adam so much.
That's fine.
the Dwayne Johnson. That,
Okay,
that
I'm so glad. I was literally just in the like, am I gonna have to not talk about the dumbest contract in all of history?
the Dwayne Johnson's whole I
Yeah.
cannot lose fights. Like,
Yeah. I have a contract that says I can't be interesting on screen.
yeah.
You can't put me in an interesting story.
God, I've never been closer to walking out of a theater. Never before, never
Really?
since. I got this close. And you know what the problem with Black Adam is for me?
What's up?
It is the most aggressively average movie ever. For every good thing, there's an equally bad thing. It is just so perfectly bland. Like, you've got Dwayne Johnson being an absolute moron, but you have Pierce Brosnan being actually kind of cool. You've got really good costume design, but you also have terrible special effects everywhere. Everything is balanced so perfectly that it evokes nothing but rage in me. I felt like I was having a seizure in the theater.
Oh, no.
I was sitting there with my friends. I was in Keene at this point in college, and I was with my friends, and they're all looking at me like losing my mind. I'd driven there separately. It's like, guys, I might leave. It's like, no, Will, you can't go. And I was in the third act. I was about fighting them to get out of the chair. Because I don't want to spoil it. I don't care. It's Black Adam. It's Pierce Brosnan got stabbed to death, and I was like fighting him to get out.
Yeah, you want to know? This is actually something that we probably should establish, especially if we're going to do more of this. I don't care about spoilers. Period. I have no problem with being spoiled on things. There are very few things that I like care enough that I will actively avoid spoilers. But even then, I don't mind if they show up. I think that media is so readily available that if you care enough that you want to see something and don't, you are making some kind of choice. And there are very few situations where you're on a trip or you have a wedding or there's like something something life related that is important. And like in those cases, like talk with people ahead of time. Like I don't think that I think humans are social creatures and I am wrong. I accept I'm wrong. But basically, what I'm saying is that if we continue this podcast, I have no problem with spoiling absolutely everything.
I don't like spoilers unless the movie is bad or like I'm perfectly okay with spoiling Black Adam. My comeback to that is I have so many movies I have a watch list of literally 400 movies.
That's
that
awesome.
I have not had time to see literally everything, and I'm working on it. So,
yeah, no,
because I just take film that seriously, but oh god,
no, Black Adam's awful.
It enrages me.
It's so bad,
and it's why it's the only time I've seen a Dwayne Johnson movie in theaters, and he's a problem. I will happily call Dwayne Johnson a problem because again we had that whole contract thing.
That's stupid.
And
I think,
and he's not an actor. He's a celebrity who just shows up as himself in every movie, and it's infuriating to witness.
So here's the thing: is like, granted, he comes from the WWE where his whole job is to be exciting.
Yeah.
So like the one thing I don't necessarily sign on to is like, oh, you're not an actor. You just show up as yourself to every movie. I think that if yourself is interesting enough, that's fine. Like. I think an actor's job is not necessarily to sell the character as much as they possibly can. I'll ask you right now, do you think Nicolas Cage is a good actor?
Depends on which era of Nicolas Cage.
See, here's the thing. I don't think there are eras of Nicolas Cage. I think
There's only Nicolas Cage.
No, I think his default is that he wants to push this more surreal version of whatever character he's trying to be, and if the director tells him no, he won't. I don't necessarily think there's like a fist fight going on in the break room.
Yeah.
I think that Nicolas Cage responds to direction the way he likes, but I don't think he's so like I don't think he's gone. I don't think he like doesn't understand what people are asking for. I think he goes with something, and if the director doesn't put him in his place, he goes with it, and it can lead to very good performances. I think Nicolas Cage has a range. I just think he favors one part of that range.
Yeah.
And
especially I feel like recently, like we can see more of that range. Like I feel like he's playing very distinct characters in things like Pig and Mandy and and the one where he plays himself, which is called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I got there in the end.
Yeah.
But and Dream Scenario. That was the other one I was trying to think of. Like I think there's like it's like more variety. Like you kind of have a point where it is all kind of still Nick Cage, but I mean even there he shows he can do other things to some level and probably even more. I love Nicolas Cage so much.
I adore him.
I adore him with all my heart.
You can't help but love him. Now, I know you have to get going in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
And there's no end in sight. We could do this forever.
We could.
So
Maple Run doesn't need a videographer. They'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Josh, I will go to work. Please don't fire me.
Josh, by the time this airs, you will know if he went to work. Make your decision however you want to do it. No, how about, since I don't have a good spot to land, how about we agree on the next topic of conversation we're going to have?
Okay.
What is the next thing you want to talk about? I am happy to go home and really soul search what my least favorite movies are.
Yeah, we can continue this.
Yeah, I can tell you.
We can talk about filmmaking techniques that we utterly despise.
I'm fine with that.
I've put a ton of thought into that too.
It's cool to think about.
Yeah,
I really enjoy it. Just since I like I said, did an hour and 30-minute rant about sort of the strength of each individual medium, I have since doing that done a lot of thinking. It just keeps popping into my head. Movies that do their best to capture the strengths of mediums that aren't movies, and when they do it well, how they do it well, and that's just a really cool thing to think about.
Right.
But so that's something I'd be really excited to talk about. But that's also like you'd be trapped in this room with a crazy person for however long. I leave it to you. What is the thing that you would like to talk about?
I did not expect to be placed with this
Next time I'll
decision.
choose. Next time I'll choose. This time it's up to you.
I mean, we also have like what do you want to do this again? Like a week or something? We have time. We can like
I don't know.
Figure this out.
They can't stop us. They're not part of this. We decide whatever works for us, and they deal with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's stick with the filmmaking techniques stuff we hate because it's right there and like I've already thought about it a bunch.
Awesome.
And we can also talk about more about terrible movies if we like because I didn't get to talk about
you know
the
what
number
we
one.
have. We're gonna hit stop. One word or phrase. What is your no explanation? What is your least favorite? And I won't give you any answer other than
Sing.
Sing?
2016 Sing, the animated movie by Illumination.
Oh, I mean like individual technique.
Oh, I thought we were talking about movies still.
Oh, yeah. No, if you want to, do you want to talk about least favorite movies next time, or do you want to do techniques?
We'll do techniques next time because we were
techniques. Okay,
because we've done like half the conversation on least favorite movies. So.
Yeah, Sing.
Sing garbage. It is the epitome of no effort. It's once again so many people have heard me rant about Sing. And we can every rant is all I'm going to say. Every rant has ended with me saying it is a slap in the face to everyone who considers cinema to be an art form, and that I stand by that, and I will die on that hill.
Let's get that rant on camera. I'll sit here and go, not this time. We have 13 minutes.
I can do it in 13 minutes.
Okay. I need to be gone by then. Yeah. No, but also next time I'll, not have rolled in from a rainstorm.
Yeah, and next time I might not have to be somewhere at 5:30.
I mean,
we can also start at 4.
We've been going for like an hour. Like, that's fine. That's not bad.
Actually, no, I think we're probably around an hour. That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
For you guys, I hope you had fun. We're just like, I understand that I'm coming across as kind of apathetic and callous. I just think that us personally, and if you got to this point, you too, think that just the conversations between the two of us are fun, and I'm going to prioritize that being as genuine as it can be over any other studio nonsense. So I think that's a good rule, also because that's a great excuse for any mistake I make.
Fair enough.
Yeah. No, I can't help but own up to it. I lose sleep at night thinking about things I could have done better. Like, it's a legitimate problem. There are things like 13 years ago, I was like, oh, I was a dick in that one conversation. And I shouldn't have done.
no.
Yeah, no. But that's for the best audience for that is a therapist. So I'm not going to do that here. All right. Have a great night.
This has been the first episode of
Art School.
Art Schooled.
Yeah.
We totally saw that name before we sat down here.
Yeah, you can see how much thought we put into that. Come next time to watch us get schooled. Hey,
that was
we did it.
okay. Oh god, hit a chord. I didn't go all the way back.